and then mute it so you're not hearing everything twice as well. Okay, just standing by for that. Gilda, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Excellent. Lovely to see you. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you.
And then mute it. So okay, so we are live on YouTube now. Let's start with you, Gilda. You're glowing. Have you been away? Have a nice holiday?
Yeah, I did. I had a great holiday.
Oh, good for you. Well deserved. Anywhere nice that you might want to tell us about?
Yeah, you know, I always go to the same place in the Algarve.
Excellent. And how was our favorite chef? I should say one of our favorite chefs. Let's not get into trouble. Tiago Zeferino, how was he?
Very good. You know, he's getting better and better each day.
Excellent. Well, lovely to have you here. I mean, you're fresh back from holiday. I'm sure you've got quite the workload to deal with, but we found on the previous call that the new director of CEF has been appointed today, Senora Batista. Absolutely hot off the press, this news. Daniel may well be reading the press release now. Are you familiar with this gentleman, Gilda? I'm sure you want to wish him the very best in his new career at CEF publicly on the Dream Team session.
Yes, I do. I do wish the best, and I hope that things will be better from now on.
Yes, I'm sure he's getting that greeting quite a lot. Any other news to report from the front line of visa processing here for Portugal?
Yes, it's been difficult to get appointments from the United States now. They have been closed, the appointments. We don't know when they are going to be opened. So we need to be a bit patient to know when they are going to open again. So if people want to know, my answer is we don't know yet.
You're right.
When there are going to be appointments for visas from the North American, the Portuguese consulates in North America. Okay,
so the waiting game that Daniel was talking about in our earlier webinar, which was excellent, it will be published on Sunday at 6 o'clock on Expats Portugal's YouTube channel, all about citizenship, who, how, and when to apply in the process. Daniel, we'll come back to you. You need a little bit of a rest, I'm sure, after that intense webinar. We've also got Jacqueline here from Mortgage Direct. How are you, Jacqueline?
Hi, thank you, Carl. Very good. Yourself?
Yeah, pretty good. It's a nice warm 26 degrees in the studio, 22 outside here on the Silver Coast of Portugal. Are you anywhere exotic this evening?
No, I'm sorry. I'm in the Netherlands, so not as exotic, but a bit closer to Portugal at least.
Yes, very good. And you don't have to be in an exotic location. That's not a prerequisite. The reason all the Dream Team panelists are here because of their expertise in the various aspects of getting you over here to Portugal. And Jacqueline's, of course, is in the mortgage financing world. What's happening in that industry at the moment, Jacqueline?
Same, but some things are changing maybe from an interesting point of view. I think I mentioned before, which is always good to reinforce the idea that we have banks that go to the age of 80, whereas most banks do 75. So that's good for maybe some of the members watching. One specific change is less and less banks are accepting bank accounts to be opened on a distance unless there's a power of attorney. So good to know for everyone listening. It's very different from the visa application where you might need a bank account at some stage. You don't need it initially to get the mortgage assessment done, but you do need it at some point. So yeah, it's good to speak to people early to make sure that they're actually have the right timelines and that we orchestrate that in a good sense.
Yeah.
And new banks are entering the scenery, which is also positive and stimulating. So there's definitely an appetite for lending. Yeah.
New banks, new Portuguese banks, or new European banks?
No, they're already there. It's just that they're entering the non-resident market, or if you were the expat market, which is not exactly how they would frame it, but yeah. So there's definitely an appetite for lending. So yeah, that's good.
Well, that must be good for the borrower. That could help with some competition.
Absolutely.
Fingers crossed in an ideal world. Okay, good to know. And that's lovely. Up to 80 years of age. Is that to reflect the longer life expectancy in Portugal, perhaps?
Could be. The moment that you move, you just add another 5 years to your
Isn't that
lifespan.
Great? Isn't that great? I don't see that very often in the sales material, but yeah, we've got to be careful making claims like that, of course. But yes, I think it is a nod in that sort of direction. And I did hear somebody anecdotally saying that that they would have, statistically, they do feel they have more years by moving to Portugal than they would have done if they'd stayed in America. So there is something in that. Thank you for being here tonight, Jacqueline. Any questions you've got on mortgage lending here in Portugal? Jacqueline's your woman and is here between now and 10 o'clock. We better move on. Jacqueline, go on.
One thing to add, I have my lovely colleague Vera Simão with me. So she's also a part of the Portugal mortgages team, and she's actually based in the Algarve. So she's a bit closer to you guys.
Would you like to say hello? When you say you have her with you, is she in the same room as you, or is she in
No, she's in Portugal.
Right. Vera, would you like to say good evening?
Good evening. Yes, of course. Thank you for having me, and nice to meet you all.
Excellent to meet you too. So maybe both two lots of advice from the mortgage side of things of moving to Portugal. Vera, great to meet you. Jacqueline, thank you for being here. Great backdrop as well there. It's a nice twist on the schist, so to speak there, Vera.
Say again, sorry.
Your backdrop is excellent too. I'm liking that very much. It's a bit of a twist on the schist that we have here in Portugal. A nice backdrop. Whereabouts are you in Portugal?
I'm based in Algarve, South.
Oh, lucky you. Fantastic.
That's part of Portugal, my state.
Yeah, absolutely. Where Gilda has just returned from. So lovely to meet you. Muito prazer. And looking forward to your ongoing company. Let's go to the capital and to Nuno now. What's new in the insurance world, Nuno?
Good evening, everyone. So no news on the insurance world, but it's pretty much like taxis. Sometimes no news is good news. So
yes. That's what we always love to hear from you and your steady industry. No news is definitely good news. So business as usual. And Nuno here tonight and the Winsurance team as ever at iamsafe@winsurance.pt on email should you need anything to do with insurance here in Portugal. So he's here to answer those questions tonight. Steve Flack, also not in the Algarve, not in Lisbon, I suspect somewhere within the M25 perimeter, Steve.
Yeah, I'm in Essex, so it's nowhere near as nice as where you are. Although it has been quite sunny today, so it makes a nice change that I've been able to say that.
Good for you. Some bragging rights from the UK there. Some nice for a change. How's it looking in the currency and world of money, moving money around?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're moving from the UK, it's been pretty good this week. We're not far off annual highs for buying euros, which has been nice. Just with some sterling strength, and then the euro dollar. It's been pretty quiet this week. Not so much information or some out this week, so it's been quite flat. So there's only been probably less than a cent movement, but the dollar euro is still really good compared to if you over. I don't know, probably the last 20 years, it's still some of the best rates we've seen. So doing it now is still very good for lots of our US and UK clients.
BartonFX.co.uk and find them in the Expats Portugal business directory as well. I think when we last spoke to you or one of your colleagues, the US had some sort of grading change. When do we expect further announcements or similar news coming out that can affect the currency rates, Steve?
I'm not aware of when they're due out, unfortunately. Sorry.
So that will just come up as and when with announcements from the Treasury or the
directly out of the US. Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. So we'll stand by from those, and we'll look forward to seeing how that affects the volatility of the currency. But always a good time to have a chat with you and your colleagues and open up a free account over there at Spartan FX.
Yeah,
Great.
definitely. Always. Yeah, we're always here, ready and available to help.
Good to have you here tonight. Let's go back to Daniel, who we've spent the last 90 minutes with in quite the most amazing and dynamic way. Thank you for being here again for the Dream Team session, Daniel. How are you?
Thank you. I'm quite all right. I won't stay for the duration of the webinar, I'm afraid. But I'm here to say hello. And if any questions are still unanswered on the nationality front, let me know and I'll try to address them before I do leave.
It's only fair and right that you are not here for another hour with us, but we did have, it was an intense session.
It was fun.
one or two
Enjoyed
outstanding
it.
questions. Yeah, thank you, Daniel. You're brilliant. And if anybody does have any further questions that we didn't manage to get to, ask them now, because Daniel, as he says, won't be here for the whole session. Very quiet in the chats over on YouTube and here on Zoom. We give priority to. Tom Smith is in. Greetings from Ohio, where it's a pleasant 27 degrees centigrade with a chance of rain. Saw a story on CNN Portugal about the president of Portugal, Mais Habitação, and the Constitutional Court, but my Portuguese wasn't good enough to understand what was being said. Can someone tell me what is happening? Let's go straight to Daniel for that.
I can address that. Well, we were, or at least I was expecting that the president would eventually send the package Mais Habitação to the Constitutional Court, because indeed a portion out of that legal diploma connected with tenancy or forced tenancy, that the state can possess the property and force the tenancy out of the house, and some situations connected with Airbnb or local lodging or local housing, as we call it here, they may not be constitutional. At least that's the reading that I have. So I was expecting that the president would eventually send the law to the Constitutional Court, but he didn't, and he said that he wouldn't. So now he can either approve the law or veto the law. I was not expecting a veto, but now he's creating somewhat of a climate of suspense. So he said that he already knows what he's going to do with the law, but he didn't told anyone. So I'm now in a climate of suspense, just waiting for what the president will do. And he did an interesting remark stating that the party that is in power was the sole one approving this law, and that all other parties opposed to it. So, well, I was probably wrong, because I was expecting that he did send the law to the Constitutional Court, and I was not expecting a veto. Now, I'm just curious to know what's the next chapter of this Game of Thrones situation. Let's see.
Daniel, who knew constitutional law could be so exciting? So we'll keep our eye on that. And
Yes.
You have brought your fans with you from the last webinar. Let's get straight over to Diana before you go anywhere, Daniel. Diana, do you want to unmute and ask your questions on the YouTube and Zoom?
Yeah, okay. Oh,
Go
sorry,
ahead,
I don't know how to, let me stop my video because I don't know how to change the background.
I thought that was great. I thought that was perfect.
Yeah. So Daniel, thank you. And I can definitely attest to the fact your firm is amazing, and looking forward to working with you again as I continue to pursue the paperwork. What I need to do is gather more evidence to connect my grandmother's birth certificate in Portugal to my grandmother in the US. Her name was changed when she came into the US, and because her name was like Maria Carrero, it's a very common name. So I'm gathering census records, all kinds of other documentation. And you mentioned that all documents from outside Portugal need to be apostilled. I was wondering, would that include like the census record, US census records and such?
Yeah, so a census record produced in the US is only valid in the US to be delivered to a US authority. But once you're using the document outside of Portugal, you will indeed need to apostille it. And the apostille in the US works on a state basis. So depending on when or where that census was done, you will need to have the document apostilled on that state. The FBI criminal background check is apostilled on a federal level, and the queue that was addressed in the other webinar, it's connected with the federal documents. So usually apostille for state documents is fast, is easy to obtain, it's fairly cheap. The apostille for the federal documents is usually the one that is hardest to obtain, and it takes longer. But yeah, you will need to apostille that document.
Okay, great, thank you. So my second question then is, I'm also attempting to get like a genealogist to help with the boat transportation, and documenting that. And this goes back over 100 years. So does anybody have any genealogist recommendations? My grandmother came from Pico in the Açores.
Okay.
Wow.
We do have a contact that we can provide. So drop us an email, and we'll put you in contact with that person to see if it can be of assistance.
Okay, I will definitely do that because I have
Amazing
my I have my grandmother's birth certificate. I actually could find her brothers and sisters in Piku as well. So they're
Have you
all
ever been
available
there
on.
in Piku? Were you able to travel over there?
Oh yeah, I climbed to the top of the mountain even.
Nice.
Yeah.
We need
I
a
definitely
photo.
recommend it.
Yeah, we need a photo of that. That's another photo of you, Diana, there. And what an amazing
I look
job.
kind of bedraggled.
Well, yeah, it's only to be expected climbing to the top of that mountain, quite frankly. But what an amazing job. A genealogist and somewhat of a private detective as well, I suppose, this person, Daniel.
Yes, almost like that.
Yes.
They do excavation of the past. It's not easy, their job, to be honest.
Right. Incredible.
Right,
Your third question, Diana.
Yeah, so I have an A2 certificate from the Instituto Camões, and I'm wondering, is there a way to find out what Portuguese language certificates would be accepted without the
That's
exam?
one of the accepted ones from the Instituto Camões. So when you are requesting the contact of the genealogist, you scan that document so we can have a quick look. But in principle, you are in the clear because that A2 certificate will be accepted here in the nationality process.
Awesome. Okay, thank you.
Happy customer there. Thank you
Yes.
very much, Diana, for those questions. We normally do questions from the chat and on the YouTube stream. However, people want to ask questions personally, and you can do that over here on Zoom. Much easier if you're a premium member, of course. Denise, go ahead. Thank you, Diana.
Hi, Daniel, and thanks again for all the information. Wonderful, as usual. That genealogist, I'm also trying to track how my grandfather actually entered South Africa, because I believe from the stories we were told that he actually jumped ship. So there's no legal record of him. So we, in effect, are all illegal immigrants for about 2 generations. So would they be able to track him down? I do have his original birth certificate, so that came very quickly. Madeira was so organized. It was incredible.
Yeah. But did he change the name once he got to South Africa?
No, he kept his name. Only the South Africans messed it up, and they couldn't understand how to spell it. And of course, he couldn't speak English. So we've had a few corruptions of the name. But I do have, as I said, I've got his birth certificate.
But this is going to be the hard part, is to prove that the person that was born in Portugal is the person that traveled to South Africa and the one that probably obtained a South African passport and probably died over there. Correct? He did die in South Africa.
Yes, he did. And our local department, which is supposed to be able to provide births and deaths, I'm waiting 5 years already for them to find that death certificate.
Durko, isn't it, in South Africa, if my memory serves me right?
Durko is the apostille and the translation people, but it's the Department of Home Affairs that actually issue the copies. So that's quite a difficult one. And as I say, it's 5 years down the line. I've already appealed to the minister. Nobody, you talk about Portugal, they've got nothing on South Africa. We're way worse. But
I don't know if a genealogist in your situation is going to be of much use, because if you're able to dig any documents in South Africa, that will, because the genealogist that we have contact is for people that they are struggling with obtaining the records here in Portugal. And it's mainly connected with documents in Portugal. So I don't know if it's going to be of a lot of assistance in your specific situation, as all the name changes did occur in South Africa. If basically what the Portuguese authorities will need to have on their side is the line of descendants. They need to connect you with your father and then with your grandfather, the Portuguese citizen, and they do this with the coincidence. The names need to coincide and the date of births need to coincide. If the name did change, any justification legally or documents will need to be provided to the authorities here in Portugal. And this is usually documents from South Africa and not Portuguese documents, because you have the most important document already from Portugal, and this is the birth certificate from Madeira, as you said.
Yes.
Nonetheless, do drop us an email with the documents that you have so we can have a quick look at it and provide our opinion on the topic, okay?
Thanks,
Okay.
Daniel. Thanks,
Okay,
Denise.
thank you
Well,
very,
good luck with all of that. And you know, another thing it might be worthwhile. It's a bit of a long shot, but how about the Expats Portugal Forum? If people tell their stories of the old folks and the ancestors, some people might be absolutely fascinated and want to share stories as well. And who knows what might happen as a result. So the Expats Portugal Forum would be a great place to tell the story of your ancestors and see if there's anything that could be picked up from within that environment there. That's a great use of a forum, let's face it. Cheers, Denise. Thank you very much, Daniel. Let's ask you a question before you have to go off and have something to eat. We need to release you from the internet now. Daniel from Square Eyes, how hard is it to get a Brazilian birth certificate? I've been waiting 10 months. Can you assist with this?
No. It's something that it's not hard to obtain because the Brazilian public record is actually good. So I did see that message on the last webinar, and I did find it odd. And sometimes it's just easier if you go to the place where where the person was born, and you go into that physical record. But in Brazil, you are able to request it either online, or you just contact any, they call it cartórios in Portuguese from Brazil, and you are able to obtain that document. So I did find it odd to see that message, because it's not supposed to be a difficult process as long as you have the relevant data. And this is date of birth, full name, and place of birth.
Okay, all right. So an oddity for Square Eyes there. What might Square Eyes do in this situation, though?
Well, depends on where the request was done. If it wasn't requested on the place where the person was born, my advice is to use the cartório from the local place where that person was born, because they have the physical records over there and they can consult it, and it's usually easier. Depends a bit on the age as well of the registry that you're looking at. The older the registry is, the possibility of something going wrong does increase. But the perception that we have from the Brazilian public record is that the majority of the record is indeed in the computer system already, and it's not that difficult to obtain. So the only nuance is if it's something from 100 years ago, or if it's something recent. But I would definitely go to the cartório and the local place where that person was born, because it's probably easier to obtain the document.
Good luck with that, Square Eyes, and thank you, Daniel. I think we do absolutely need to release you from the internet so you can go and have something to eat and maybe even a drink as well. Thank you so much for your excellent work this evening. From the King of Law, Daniel, Dr. Reyes, if you like. Oh, just very quickly, your doctorate, is that in constitutional law? Is that your area of specialist interest?
No, not at all, not at all. When I was attending to university, I was enjoying criminal law, but I'm not doing criminal law at all in the past 5 years. So, and my master's was in corporate law. So wow. I would say that my specialty is, I would say, corporate law, and nowadays real estate law. This is the thing that we work the most here at the office.
Thank you so much. Enjoy your dinner.
Take care.
It's a long time coming. Take care, mate. Bye for now. All right, let's go to the Queen of the Visas. From the King of Law to the Queen of Visas, Gilda. We have a question. Thank you, Daniel. From, I just can't see this name on my screen at the moment, but how much time does the D1 work visa take once you have received the NIF and the job proposal from the Portuguese company? That's from the Nauno. Gilda, did you catch that?
Yes. First thing is that for the work visa, you don't need the NIF.
Okay.
Okay. The other thing is that you should analyze if it's a highly qualified type of employee, or if it's just ordinary work and ordinary work contracts. Because if it is highly qualified work, and there are different type of requisites that we need to analyze that can distinguish the two of them. Because if it is a highly qualified, which means a D3, it's by law only 30 days. And if it is a D1, it's 60 days by law.
Okay, there you go, Nonu. Back over to the Zoom chat. Thanks, Gilda. We have a question from S. Someone mentioned if selling my US home while on the D7 visa, I might have to pay capital gains taxes to the Portuguese government in addition to paying taxes in the US. Is there anyone on the call that can confirm or deny this, or can we make a recommendation, Gilda?
That is not true, because while you are making your D7 process, you are not a Portuguese tax resident yet. You only became a Portuguese tax resident when you already have your Portuguese residence and you are able to change your tax residence on your residency card.
Okay, there you go. That's a relief, I suspect, to
Yes.
Esther. Staying with you, Gilda, how long is it taking from the time you first apply for the D7 visa until you receive it from the United States? A bit of a how long is a piece of string question. I suspect that it is taking longer than normal now because of the demand that is creating a backlog at the consulates who aren't staffed to handle the workload. So roughly speaking, can you help Tom Smith on that one?
Yeah, it has been taking around 3 to 4 months.
Right. Okay. There you go, Tom. I hope that helps. And we have Capricorn Chris over on YouTube. Was my video correct about the golden visa? I'm not qualified to speak on that, Chris. You might have to give us a bit more info there. Nature's Ambiance Tree Houses. You sound interesting. Good evening to you. Mr. S will be in Salamanca on Sunday. And Ubi, our good old mate Ubi. Butard, are we live? I'll just pinch myself. Ouch. Yes, we definitely are live, Ubi. And thank you for your comments about the twist on the schist. Now, going back to the first question, Gilda, is an ordinary designer job in an IT company. Does that affect the answer you gave?
No, it will depend on the years of experience and on the salary. So
Okay. All right. Thank
just drop me an email.
Yep.
And then I will analyze and we'll let you know.
Find Gilda in the business
put my email
directory.
here.
Yes, please do that. No, thanks for being here on YouTube. And also some nice words from my Italian therapy. Gina, is this Fiore or Flore? Forgive me, I can't see it at this distance and with the way the graphics are on YouTube at the moment. Bon dia, Gina in upstate New York, USA, moving to Portugal, coming in December for 3 months to buy a property in central or northern. How exciting. Thanks, you say, for all this great info and referrals. It's a pleasure. We do this every Thursday evening at 9 o'clock. And I'm going to go to each of the Dream Team panelists to talk about timelines in just a minute, but not until, and we've been reminded by a very thoughtful Rick C here, perhaps a Mandela and a Denise update today. So your son was a bit offended, wasn't he, basically, that we were asking about Mandela every week, but not about your kids. So have the kids... Can you hear this? Have the kids enjoyed the holidays, Gilda, and hanging out with mum?
They did
Good.
a lot.
So the kids are
Just
fine
a
and
moment.
well.
Dinis, queres vir aqui? No?
Here you go, Rixie.
Sim.
Come and say hello to everybody. You're making your kid wave to this strange guy on a webinar. I don't know if you remember me. Boa noite, Denise. Tudo bem?
Diz boa noite. Good night.
Good night. He's got to go to bed. Well done, mate. Nice Billabong t-shirt as well. Excellent stuff.
He likes the
limelight, the fame.
Yeah, he likes the.
Well, I wonder where he gets that from. And how about Mandela? How's Mandela doing?
Well, Mandela is very good. He loved the hotel this time, so I don't think that I need to worry.
This is not the hotel that you were at. He went to
No, this is the new one. So I don't think that I need to worry anymore when I go on vacation. He was very happy. When I got there, he was, the only thing that he wanted was to show me everything and all his friends. And okay, so he was really happy, and I was happy to see that he had a good time.
Brilliant.
Everyone was telling me how cute he was and that he had a great time, and that
Really?
he got there a little bit naughty, but then when he get to know the people and the other dogs, he was really sweet and fun. Yeah.
And aren't you a little bit upset that he didn't miss you more, perhaps, and enjoyed his holiday too much?
No, I was happy. I
Okay,
think
very
that
good.
he needed that. And you
All
know,
right.
and on the first night, they told me that on the first 2-3 nights, he got a little bit, like sad and was crying because he was alone. But
Aw.
then, they kind of gave him a biscuit before night, and they would tell him, come on, Mandela, now you are going to be in charge of the hotel. You need to take care of everybody.
What?
And then on the third night, he was like, yeah, I'm in charge and I'm the boss. And
I mean, there are worse places to stay as a human being than this place. So well done, Gilda.
yeah,
Sounds like you
yeah,
had a great time. Gilda, your son looks so much like you, says Connie. So true.
he
Right.
does, he does.
Thank you for that. Now, I want to bring all of the Dream Team panelists on board here for this as we talk about timelines, because it's a lot about it's core to moving to Portugal is getting the timelines right. I've likened it to a fancy watch with lots of moving pieces, and you've got to make sure everything's running at the right time and you're calling people and getting in touch with people at the right time. Clearly, Gilda, first call probably should go to EI to talk about the visa process. People can call you and they can set up that first consultation with you, can they?
Yes, because on that consultation, we need to see what type of people, what type of visa do they need to apply.
Yep.
And now, because there is this confusion between the D7 and the digital nomads, and lots of D7s are being refused because people still show some active income on the D7s. We need to analyze very careful about the income and the income that it's going to be shown on the D7. You cannot show any active income when you are applying for a D7.
Right. Okay.
And the other way around.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the starting point. A good place to begin when you're thinking about moving to Portugal. Find out what you're up against. Find out exactly what sort of visa you need. I think the sort of foundation block, if you like, of moving to Portugal. Anything else to say on that, Gilda?
Yes. And then we start drawing a timeline. When do they need to apply for the NIF, and when they need to start working on the bank accounts, because sometimes people just want to move in the beginning of January.
Okay.
Next year, and they are coming to see places, properties in November. So what we say is, okay, we can take you the NIF, and when you come in October, November, we take care of the bank account in person, because it's going to be less expensive, and it's going to be much more easy.
Okay, brilliant. And the other side of that, sorry if that's everything, because I want to go over to Steve now.
Mm-hmm.
You're helping people open up bank accounts here in Portugal. The other side of that, of course, is moving your money across to the bank account that's been opened in Portugal. When do you advise, Steve, people get in touch with you to do that in their timeline of moving to Portugal?
Yeah, I mean, look, we always say to get your accounts open with us, the earlier the better. Only because once it's open, if you need to move money quickly, then the facility is there to be used as quickly as possible. We've got lots of clients that buy their currency in advance as well, so they don't even have to have the account open in Portugal, because we can hold, we can hold your dollars or your pounds and convert them to euros, when you need them, and we don't have to send them out straight away. So you can use, our facility, for whenever you need. But we'd always say, the quicker you've got the account open, the quicker we can act, on your behalf. Say a property comes up, and you need to get some money out there, quick as anything, and then the facility is there to use. And, we would have done all of our compliance and things like that in advance, and, then it's ready to use.
Okay. And literally, when somebody wants money moved, how quickly can that happen with the transfer?
Yeah, I mean, look, it can be August. It can be done the same day. It
Right.
it really just depends on if the funds. So if your dollars or your pounds are with us already, and we can get the conversion done. If we do it in the morning, we can get it done and get it into Portugal the same day. If it's done in the afternoon, just due to cut off times, it would only be the very next day. So it is a very quick process. And I sent one today. It was there within about, I think, 10 minutes. So it can be as quick as that. That doesn't always work like that. It will depend on the receiving bank. I can't guarantee 10 minutes every time, but
Yes.
some of them, is as quick as that, and others it's just the next day.
That's not down to you, is it? You have to push
No,
that
unfortunately not.
And there's nothing that can be done, is there, about that awkward time of it disappearing and then arriving again? But Spartan FX, at the other end of a phone, basically, to allay fears and help people to be confident when it comes to moving money. The currency counselors you have been referred to as. Cheers, Steve. Thank you for that. Come back to you a bit later if we have any currency questions. Yes, let's go to Nuno. In this process that we've been talking about here with Steve and with Gilda there, how quickly in the process should people get in touch with you, Nuno?
So usually talking about the travel insurance, which is the first one, the travel incoming, is a specific insurance policy for the visa, to get the visa. We can get on the same day. And the health insurance, maybe in 3 labor days. If it's something urgent, we can call to the insurer and request for priority. For example, today a client needs the health insurance for today, and we start the process yesterday, and today we submit, we place the contract, and we got the insurance policy. But what we ask always is, please planning, treat with time, because this way you avoid to put us under pressure. So if you can handle with this with time, we really appreciate.
I love the way you do this, though, Nuno, because I mean, you do want to help people out, don't you? If they're in a bit of a tight spot, but if at all possible, do give them a longer lead time when you can. So there you go. That's how it rolls with Winsurance. Anything else you want to add to that, Nuno?
No, not much. The insurance that are required for the visa process, they are very, very clear to us, and no secrets. So,
and many satisfied customers, as you'll see, if you go onto the forum on Expats Portugal. I'm sure there are people here in the chat tonight who will attest to your great skills. Camilla's also here tonight. Thanks for being here from Winsurance. And Jackie's here as well. Jackie, not Jacqueline Muller, but Jackie from the Expats Portugal team also here and answering questions too. Let's ask Jacqueline Muller this question, and Vera as well. Timeline. I guess if people feel like they want to borrow some money to buy somewhere in Portugal, they should get in touch with you ASAP and use the simple form.
Yes, that's the one. Thank you, Carl, for leading in that answer. Well, so what would be a general timeline? Maybe it's good. So let's say 6 weeks, which is that can happen in that time. You can have a mortgage approved and everything, but usually it doesn't happen for once, depending on the property you're buying, etc., and everyone involved. Because with the mortgage, there's a bunch of hurdles to be taken, and it's not only the bank. So you need a NIF at some point. So that's why we want to talk to people ASAP to make sure that we can orchestrate these timelines so all expectations are being met. And so when people are like, oh, we found a property, we bought it yesterday, and then we need a mortgage, and then you can have some deceptions. So the earlier we talk to you, the better, for sure. And then you have certain steps, of course, which it will not take 6 weeks for everything, but I'm talking 6 weeks from going to the bank to having your keys of your new property. That would how quick it can go, and even maybe quicker, but it really depends on everyone involved, and also the other steps that need to be taken, like the NIF, and then to get a bank account you need to have a NIF, etc., etc. So everything is connected together, which makes it also important to talk to us early. And another one is about income. So when people make these life-changing decisions, like moving to another country, they could perhaps do something that could hurt the mortgage options. So we do want to talk to people early, so we can have early take on the situation, early advice, and also to help people make not bad decisions that's going to hurt their
So
mortgage.
the earlier the better. Don't leave it too late. So perhaps the advice
don't-
from you.
But
And
maybe Vera wants to add something. Sorry. If
No,
you...
no,
well, I was
hi.
going to ask you, Vera. You know, a lot of this can be done online, can't it? But can it also involve lunch in the Algarve, which would be a very nice possibility? Wouldn't it? If you've got to deliver documents as part of this process, can people drive to the Algarve and enjoy, you know, some fun time in the south of the country?
Well, it's really rare. We do have clients that when coming, or if you have a nice connection with the client from the beginning, then it's normal they can ask you for, can we go for a coffee or for lunch and discuss more and get to know you in the meantime. But it's really rare. We don't have a physical office. Everything is done like online, over the phone, over the internet.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. So very straightforward, very simple, can all be done online. And the place to go, well, when you connect with Jacqueline, with Vera, that you don't need to know everybody's whole life story, do you? You just need them to fill in the inquiry form, and you'll get back to them and get the information you need to know, right?
Well, you mean the form, the main
Yes.
form that you need to fill
Absolutely.
out? Well, I would not say a whole life, but we need to know pretty much. We need to know personal details, especially date of birth, to see how long can be the maximum loan repayment time. Of course, all in detail, all the debts and income that the clients have.
So the basics there, and then somebody from Mortgage Direct will get back in touch with you and see if you can match the 6-week ideal time. Doesn't always work out like that because there are circumstances beyond their control, obviously, but that's how quickly it can happen. Thank you very much, Jacqueline and Vera. I think that's everybody on the timeline there. It prompted a question for you, Steve, here as well. We've got a question from S. Is there a minimum amount to be transferred? For example, if I was visiting for a month and didn't need a large amount transferred, could I do this?
Yes, I mean, we do tend to do things from about 2,000 euros. So yes, say around 2,000 euros, just so we can get the better exchange rates for you. And you'd have to have an account over in Portugal for us to send the funds to. So we don't, it's not like a bank account where you can just draw money out of. It would need to be sent into Portugal for it to be able to be used.
Terrific. Cheers, Steve. Thanks for that. Jackie, do you want to ask this? You fielded a question about the digital nomad visa for Gilda here.
Yeah, hi, Gilda. I'm sorry, my photo's frozen. So we're working with some great people at EI, and for all 3 of my adult children. And my youngest son is a digital nomad. And if you see, and what his concern is, because we don't know which way the law is going to go, about, that 11% that he may have to pay if the government, whatever they decide for Social Security. And that's one question. So whether you think that's going to happen, I guess nobody has a crystal ball. The other thing is that would his American company have to be established as a Portuguese entity? I mean, it's an American company. So
good question.
How would that work?
Thank you for that.
Yes, I was discussing that case with Carolina today, and we don't know anything about that yet, Jacqueline. So I think that for now we should do things as and keep it as they are.
Would his company be subject to Portuguese labor laws? Like
no, never.
Never?
Never.
Okay.
Never.
So the only real concern is whether or not he ends up paying an additional 11% for Social Security. That's really the only question.
Yes.
Okay, so they don't have to be a Portuguese entity, a corporation. It's okay that they're just American.
Yes. What sometimes to pay Social Security contributions, as a single person working for another company, what sometimes the accountant suggests is that the American companies open an entity here, but of course most of them say no way. So we we'll find a way with the accountants that work with us, and that was what I told Carolina, that we were going to talk to them to see in the case that happens what we can do without having to tell the American company.
And that's this way he would be able to pay it and not his company.
Yes,
The 11%.
yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
So
And that
that's
remains a
good.
mystery, Gilda, doesn't it? This idea of paying Social Security a decision hasn't been made. It's just
No,
something
not
digital
yet,
nomads are
not
concerned
yet.
about.
Mhm.
Okay. Jackie, is that everything?
Yes, thank you, Gilda. That was so helpful.
Yes, but we discussed that today, and we are going to check with the accountants, and then we will let you know what can happen if that is going to put into law.
You know, I think all digital nomads coming from the US are facing this right now.
Sure.
You know, so it's a
Yes,
little
so if we have a solution, it will be good that we have that we can share this solution for the future.
yeah. And do you have any idea when they might make a decision, or that's another great mystery?
That's another great mystery.
And
And
you
I
know
don't
what?
want to talk about that because I don't want to give them ideas.
Right? Yeah. Okay. So when a new
Okay.
director comes into SEF, do they tend to throw their weight about, as it were, and make big changes, or do you think it depends on the individual who's taking the role?
It depends on the individual that is
We'll be
taking the role.
watching. We'll be watching, Senora
Wow.
Batista, with this.
Thank you. That was great. Thank you,
Fresh.
Gilda.
You're welcome.
Cheers, Jackie. Thank you, Gilda. Of course, calming fears. She's the Valium of the visa world. If maybe that's not the best way to
That's
put it.
perfect, actually. I think that is perfect. Gilda, you are the value of the visa. Everyone feels safer
Calm
after
down.
speaking to you. So
Right.
thank you.
There you go.
Yeah, I must say that my son just told me that he also does a great job, because if you can trust me, is because he keeps my mental sanity.
This boy's good, isn't he? Is he looking for a job?
Wow.
Is he looking for a position on the board? I think he is, isn't he? I don't know how old you have to be in Portugal for that sort of role and responsibility. But
Mom,
yeah,
I'm very important because I just keep your mental sanity. So
he's right. I imagine he
We should
challenges
pay
you.
him. We should
Yeah.
pay him.
Definitely. Yeah. There we go. Starting a petition for Denise to be on the board.
yeah, I think that he must start getting a percentage.
Yes, I'm sure he's been thinking about that. He might have the paperwork ready for you. He might have been speaking to Daniel. Okay. I was interested to hear that the Portuguese government offer free Portuguese lessons for immigrants at night school, said Pedder. Are these lessons widely available all over Portugal, even in the remote rural locations and villages? That's a good question. And it is a bit of a lottery where these are available, right, Gilda? You can't just rock up at any municipality and ask for it.
Yes, it is. So whether you choose when you choose to live in one place, you need to be informed if there are in that place, if there are going to be free lessons or not.
Yeah. Okay. But it is a great idea. And they do come up, and sometimes you have to be on a waiting list. It might be at a local school or something like that, Pedder, but it's a great idea. And somebody in the last webinar said, there aren't many Portuguese people in my local community. And I was thinking, how did they manage that? What do they live in a gated Algarvian place or something like that? They need to get out more. It would be my gentle suggestion, and find themselves a local language lesson there. I was wondering how that would happen here. Sorry, yes, hello.
Can I just tell something that my neighbor's doing? She has a fear of taking tests. So in Cascais, she goes to school 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And throughout the year, it's 2 semesters, 5 days a week. She says it's a lot of fun. And if you take this course, you don't have to take the test.
No, it's the success is based on attendance, isn't it? And the teacher will decide whether you've done an adequate job. It's a great way of avoiding tests if you have a similar phobia or anxiety. Absolutely. Thanks for that, Jackie. So it is available, obviously, in Cascais over there. Hi from Amanda. Good evening to you. I'm looking to relocate to Portugal this year and wondered what the chances are of me securing an interview for employment whilst still residing in the UK. I'm a qualified teaching assistant and have already applied for a post at Almada International School. I am currently applying for a looking for work visa. It's a tough one, that, but I mean, Portugal absolutely is at the cutting edge of work practice. So, Gilda, what do you reckon? If someone is interested in Amanda joining them, they can interview by Zoom and so on, can't they? I think we've got.
Yes, I have protocol with two international schools.
Okay.
And I work with them, helping bringing teachers from all over the world.
Great. Okay.
Yes. So what they can do is can send the CV and say if they help with the visa process. If they help, okay, maybe they already have a protocol with another company, which is totally silly, because if it's not us, I don't understand what they are doing.
Me neither.
But if they don't have, you can come to us and for help.
There you go, Amanda. I bet you're glad you asked. Thanks, Gilda, for that. That's another thing I found out about you tonight, as well as Daniel in the last session saying he's Canadian as well as Portuguese. It's funny the things we find out about people.
Oh, you didn't know that?
Did you not know that even?
No, I did know.
I thought you might. I didn't know that. Barak, what happens if we're trying to get our D7 visa and we go for our interview in DC before we're able to move? Our employer tells us if we want to continue to work in Portugal, they will allow it. What happens then? Sorry, I made a bit of a mess of that, but I think it's it's on Zoom there. What happens if we're trying to get our D7 visa and we go for our interview in DC before we're able to move? Our employer, before we're able to move, our employer tells us if they want to continue to work in Portugal and if they'll allow it. Yeah. So would that affect the application if the employer says, no, we can't have that?
First, if it's a D7, you cannot say that it's your employer. It needs to be a D8.
It's irrelevant, isn't it? If they've got passive income for the D7, it doesn't matter what the employer says.
Yes.
Right, there we go.
But then if it is a D8, you need to have a letter from the employer saying that they must allow you working remotely.
Okay, there you go. Now, my final question tonight, we have got a few more quickies in YouTube, but in the last session, Daniel was telling us that in the old days, you used to just get sent your Portuguese birth certificate to show you're a citizen. It's like being born again Portuguese. These days, you get 2 lines on a piece of paper saying, congratulations, you are now a Portuguese citizen. Apparently, in the United States, Jackie was telling us, there was a tear-jerking, very moving ceremony to welcome people into the United States as a citizen. And we thought to ourselves, maybe we should have a ceremony. So I'm going to ask each of our panelists, could be difficult for you, Steve, but I'm going to ask each of our panelists what they think should be in the ceremony of becoming Portuguese. Steve, you can probably have a guess at that after a few holidays in Portugal. We'll come back to that after a few YouTube quickies, including Angel, who's working on your side. Gilda pays her boy with love. So he's not getting any money. He's just getting love from mum. Yes. Tell him that's in the T's and C's of the contract. Any guidelines on how long a citizenship takes to receive in Portugal? Brendan, if you've got a Tesla, you can travel back in time, I'm sure, to 2 hours ago and watch the webinar. That will be published on the Expats Portugal YouTube channel on Sunday at 6 o'clock. You can find out exactly what Daniel said about that. But there is a 2-year waiting list for the citizenship. Last week, your rep reported that for saving and investment regarding the D7, you will need the minimum amount of 50 grand. Can you comment on that, Gilda? It's a guideline, isn't it?
Yes, it's our guideline for success fee.
There you go. Capricorn, Carl, the question about the
Capricorn, where were you when I were in Portugal? Where were you?
I wanted a selfie of that. His question is about the golden visa. It's about to change and time is running out before it's retired for investment through property. So act fast before it's too late. Well, yeah, I don't know if that's a question or a statement, but certainly with Holborn Assets in the business director of Expats Portugal, there's still time just, and there's a solution for doing that in the Expats Portugal directory through Holborn. Thank you, Chris, for pointing that out. Our house is fully paid and will be on the market during our DA application process, says Mariette. Should we mention anywhere in our application that those funds will be available as savings once the house is sold, Gilda?
Yes. Yes,
okay,
they can mention that.
Should mention that. Okay, there you go, Mariette. Simple answer there. Can you please clarify? Says Nature's Ambulance. We've just done that one on the 50 grand in savings. It's a guideline. And Gina, I'm still confused about the timeline to do the D7. I have to go back to the States until next fall. I'm coming for 3 months, but I need to know when to apply next year and when to be in Portugal. For Gina, I mean, I think you covered that when we were talking about timelines there, Gilda. But what would you say for somebody coming to Portugal for 3 months and having to be back in the United States until next fall?
I need to analyze the particular situation.
For the 3 months, that'll be a tourist visa anyway, won't it? So I think a call into the EIA office would be good. Gina.
Yes, because I need to know. I need to know when the person is going to be ready to submit the process, and then if she wants to submit the process and come to Portugal, or if she wants to be in Portugal and then submit the process and wait in Portugal.
So a call to the office, I would suggest there. Ubi, good point, Ubi, about the life expectancy. Life in Portugal increases both in quality and quantity of life. That is just science. Says Ubi. Thank you very much for that. And again, it is on topic to ask what paper trail I need to keep for my 18-year-old to prove dependency. She's starting college next week and has resident card, swimming around in Seth's basement pool. So what paper trail does Ubi need to show that the dependent 18-year-old is in education, full-time education?
So the paper from the school, she needs the attestation from the college saying that she's she has the inscription and that she's attending school.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Mr. S. It's 34% from the company and 14% from the employee for Social Security for the Portuguese, says Mr. S. I'm not sure. Is that right? Do those figures stack up for you Portuguese employers here? Sounds about right. Okay. And Ubi, card should have start date sometime spring, summer 22 at age 17 or whatever date the Seth. I'm not sure what your question is there, Ubi, but I think you've already got an answer to it, basically. So in these last few seconds, basically, of the call tonight. Oh, a quickie from Zoom, Gilda, is 50,000 required for 2 people, a couple, not a single person. It is for the couple, isn't it? 50K in the bank. Okay, right. This Barak's already ahead of us here, and is saying that a Superboc Pastel de Nata. Oh, that's it. A Superboc. Oh, a glass of wine, a Superboc, and a Pastel de Nata is what you need for a Portuguese celebration of your citizenship. Let's start. Steve, what would you say as a foreigner? I mean, that sounds like a good idea, doesn't it? A Superboc, a glass of wine, and a Pastel de Nata.
Yeah, exactly what I was thinking. I'd probably just go with the Superboc, but yeah, I think that'd be me. I'm not a wine man myself, so I think that would suit me down to the ground.
Well, you are now Portuguese. Here's your Superboc. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you want? Thank you, Steve. Do you want to improve on that, Jacqueline?
Maybe add a little. I don't know what the name is. It's a little liquor that you get in Lisbon that you serve next to the pastel.
Or your charinho, your aguardente, maybe to go with.
No, it's creamy. It's it's creamy.
Creamy. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Bailey's type of, but not really. But yeah, so maybe one of the Portuguese crowd knows. But I've had it once. They insisted I had to take it next to the pastel de nata.
And you felt you were Portuguese at that moment. They're all booze at the moment. Anything else that you might add culturally apart from the alcohol?
Not that I can think of something. Yeah, maybe you should have a little bit of fado.
A bit of fado as well. A prato de dia, I'm thinking, a celebratory one as well. Thank you, Jacqueline. Great to see you. Vera, did you want to add anything to that? Becoming Portuguese as a citizen, how might we celebrate that?
Oh, say again, sorry?
If you're becoming a Portuguese citizen, how do you think we should celebrate that in a ceremony, as well as Superboc, pastel de natas, and a glass of wine?
Let me think. Maybe with some seafood from Algarve. Oysters, like Jacqueline loves it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Thank you very much, Vera. Great to meet you tonight. Much prazer.
Nice to meet you.
We'll see you again in the future. Nuno, what do you think?
Well, I'm thinking on what I consider typical Portuguese drinks, like medronho, which is strong. Okay.
From Algarve?
Sorry?
From Algarve?
Okay, I'll go off again.
Yeah, also in Algarve, yeah. And a Marguinha. And what is the name? A lot of people order a martini, which is synthetic. And please, Gilda, help me in Setúbal, the liquor.
Moscatel.
Muscatel. Yeah, you are a Portuguese. You are
Yes,
Portuguese.
thank you very much indeed.
Muscatel. So instead of order a martini, order a muscatel, and I know that you will stay satisfied.
Brilliant. As Square Eye says, not fado, some madreados to become Portuguese. And Denise saying, I think you should be able to sing Uma Casa Portuguesa. I imagine you agree with that, Gilda. Thanks, Nuno. Oh, well, let's unmute you, Gilda, for your final words on this, becoming Portuguese. We still need you unmuted. We can't hear you.
Okay, I need to make some combinations.
Oh, okay.
It will be pastel de bacalhau
Oh,
with superboc.
right.
Okay.
Yes.
It will be caracóis,
Yes.
snails
Yes.
with sagres.
That's going to put some people off becoming Portuguese. Be careful.
No, they will have choices. It's like a menu.
Oh, okay,
People
fair
will
enough. Yeah,
choose.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, got it. Got it.
People will choose pastel de bacalhau with superboc, caracóis with sagres,
Yes.
pastel de nata with muscatel.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And then at the end, to kill everything, you go with the medronho.
That's it. And then you are officially Portuguese.
Yes.
They have all involved booze. I mean, it's incredible. Maybe next week we'll think of some of the other cultural aspects of the country. But that is a fantastic start.
I'm sorry, we had excluded vegans and people that don't drink alcohol.
We can pick up on this
They cannot
next week.
become Portuguese. I'm
Do
sorry.
coffee. A strong coffee. A strong Portuguese coffee.
You can't do that. You can't say suddenly vegans are not allowed.
No,
because of our
I'm said we had excluded in this menu, so we have to think about something next week.
we'll pick this up because
And of course, after the medronho, we need a strong coffee because it's also very typical.
and then
Thank
we
you,
go around
Jacqueline.
again because we need a cheirinho to go with the coffee, and on it goes when you're truly Portuguese. Great job, Dream Team. Let's go over to Astrid and also Jackie as well to find out what's coming up. Or not, as the case may be.
Okay, hi, Carl.
Hey, Jackie.
I'm sorry that my thing is frozen. Well, next week is a really great one in terms, especially for families trying to understand the educational system and how the Portuguese system works, how the system in the UK and even the US system. And this is an international school that will be talking about those different systems when you come here and what would best serve the needs of one of your children if you're new here.
Superb. And I think, Amanda, that's going to be great for you, isn't it, with your earlier question? And of course, Jackie, the Dream Team session again, where we'll pick up on this ceremony that I think it could be part of the Expats Portugal offering, couldn't it? You came up with this.
Well, could I just tell you, I think these are great ways to celebrate, but one of the things I found very moving in the US ceremony is that they actually pledged to uphold not only the laws, but the spirit of the Constitution and the values of the country. And I think it's such a privilege to live here in Portugal that doing the same thing would be very meaningful.
What a lovely note to end on. Diana says, the ceremony on the beach in Cascais gives me an incentive to hurry up and complete my citizenship work. Well done, Diana. Thank you. Yeah, and this will continue. What a lovely idea that you've introduced, Jackie. Thank you, Dream Team members tonight for being here.
Thank you. You guys were
See you again
amazing
next
as
week.
usual.
Yes, Bernight's Dream Team, says Alison. Sweet dreams on that note.
Can I have one last moment, Carl?
Yes,
I want
you
to say
can.
thank you to everyone too. Sorry. It's just that I'm leaving my role at Mortgage Direct. And
Oh, no.
yeah. I'm not gone yet, so don't worry. And anyone who's still handling, or I'm handling mortgage applications, will be taken care of. So don't worry if anyone is still, here on the call, etc. But yeah, so I'm leaving. One of the reasons that I introduced Vera, it's a very hard selection process to fill the shoes, but no, I'm joking. Vera is lovely. She's very knowledgeable. She is actually in the Algarve, so if she likes, you can have a coffee with her. But she's a great mortgage advisor. So she knows really well the stuff. So I want to say a big thank you to everyone from Expats Portugal. I want to say a big thank you everyone from the other knowledge areas that you've been contributing. I learned a lot too. So thank you very much for that. And anyone who's tuning in, who's in the YouTube channel, or anyone who's watching this, you are in great hands with all the professionals on board, because everyone is really doing their best to make this a dream come true for you if you're relocating to Portugal or if you want to buy property here. So yeah, don't doubt on reaching out to the Expats Portugal team, because they can for sure can help you with your transition. And a big shout out to you, Carl, because you make always an amazing effort and a great, you know how to set this environment to make it very inviting and very lovely. So it's always great fun to be part of this show, and big shout out to you, Carl.
Oh,
Thanks for
thanks,
everything.
Jacqueline. Yeah, and I'm very
Yeah.
yes, I'm sorry to hear that we won't be having these sorts of conversations, but absolutely, on behalf of everybody, the dream team and everyone at Expats Portugal and the community, we wish you absolutely the best in your new direction. It's been so much fun talking to you over the last couple of years.
Thank you so much, Carl. And thanks to
Right.
Thank you,
everyone.
Jacqueline. You
Beijinhos,
did a great
abrazos.
job.
Take care, everybody. Bye for now. Ciao, ciao. All the
Bye.
best.